2 Kings chapter 9. The anointing of Jehu. Elisha the prophet summoned one of the guild prophets and said to him, "Prepare for traveling. Take this flask of oil in your hand and go to Ramoth Gilead. When you get there, look for Jehu the son of Joshaphat, the son of Nimshi. Enter, have him step away from his companions, and take him to an inside room. Then take the flask of oil, pour it on his head, and say, 'This is what Adonai says. I have anointed you king over Israel.' After that, open the door, and get away from there as fast as you can." So the young prophet left for Ramoth Gilead. When he arrived, he found the senior army officers sitting there. He said, "I have a message for you, Commander." Jehu asked, "For which one of us?" "For you, Commander," he said. Jehu got up and went into the house. Then the prophet poured the oil on his head and said to him, "This is what Adonai the God of Israel says. I have anointed you king over the people of Adonai, over Israel. You will attack the house of Ahaziah your master, so that I can avenge the blood of my servants the prophets and of all the servants of Adonai, bloodshed by Jezebel. The entire house of Ahaziah will perish. I will cut off from Ahaziah every male, whether a slave or free in Israel. I will make the house of Ahaziah like the house of Joram the son of Nebat and like the house of Baasha the son of Achiah. Moreover, the dogs will eat Jezebel in the dumping ground of Israel, and there will be no one to bury her." Then he opened the door and fled. Jehu returned to the servants of his lord, and one of them said to him, "Is everything all right? Why did this Meshuggah come to you?" He answered them, "You know the kind and how they babble." They said, "You're being evasive. Come on, tell us the truth." Then he said, "This is exactly what he said to me and how he said it. Here is what Adonai says. I have anointed you king over Israel." At this, they hurried each one to take his cloak and put it under Jehu at the top of the stairs. Then they blew the shofar and proclaimed, "Jehu is king." Jehu kills Joram. Jehu the son of Joshaphat, the son of Nimshi, formed a conspiracy against Joram. At the time, Joram was guarding Ramoth Gilead, he and all Israel, because of Hazael king of Aram. But Joram himself had returned to Israel to recover from the wounds Aram had inflicted on him when fighting Hazael king of Aram. "If you agree," said Jehu, "then don't allow anyone to leave town and take the news to Israel." So Jehu, riding in a chariot, went to Israel, for Joram was laid up there. Ahaziah king of Judah had come down to visit Joram. The lookout standing on the watchtower in Israel saw Jehu's troops approaching and said, "I see some troops coming." Joram said, "Have a horseman go to meet him and ask, 'Are you coming in peace?'" So a man on horseback went to meet him and said, "The king asks if you are coming in peace." Jehu answered, "Peace. What business is that of yours? Turn around, and get behind me." The watchman reported, "The messenger reached them, but he isn't coming back." So he sent out a second man on horseback, who, on coming to him, said, "The king asks if you are coming in peace." Jehu answered, "Peace. What business is that of yours? Turn around, and get behind me." The watchman reported, "He reached them, but he isn't coming back. Also, it looks like the driving of Jehu Nimshi's grandson. He's driving like a maniac." "Harness my chariot," ordered Joram. They got it ready. Then Joram king of Israel and Ahaziah king of Judah, each in his chariot, went out to meet Jehu. They met him in the field of Nabat the Israeli. When Joram saw Jehu he said, "Are you coming in peace, Jehu?" He answered, "Peace." with your mother Jezebel continuing all her cult prostitution and witchcraft. What a question. Joram wheeled around and fled, shouting, "Treachery, Ahaziah!" Jehu drew his bow with all his strength and struck Joram between the shoulder blades. The arrow went through his heart, and he collapsed in his chariot. "Pick him up," said Jehu to Bidkar his servant, "and throw him into the field of Naboth the Israeli. For remember how, when you and I were riding together after Ahaziah his father, Adonai pronounced this sentence against him. Adonai says, 'Yesterday I saw the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons.' Adonai also says, 'I will pay you back in this field.' Therefore, pick him up, and throw him into the field, in keeping with what Adonai said." The death of Ahaziah. But when Ahaziah the king of Judah saw this, he fled on the road past Beit Hagan. Jehu pursued him and ordered, "Strike him too in his chariot." So they struck him, at the Gur ascent, near Yivlaim. He fled to Megiddo, but there he died. His servants carried him in a chariot to Jerusalem and buried him in his tomb with his ancestors in the city of David. It was in the 11th year of Joram the son of Ahaziah that Ahaziah had begun his rule over Judah. The fulfillment of Elisha's prophecy. When Jehu reached Israel and Jezebel heard of it, she put on eye makeup, fixed her hair and looked out the window. As Jehu came through the city gate, she asked, "Are you here in peace, you Zimri, you murderer of your master?" Looking up at the window he said, "Who is on my side? Who?" 2 or 3 officers looked out toward him. He said, "Throw her down." So they threw her down. Some of her blood splashed onto the wall and the horses, and she was trampled underfoot. He went in, ate and drank, and then said, "Deal with this accursed woman, bury her, because she's a king's daughter." They went to bury her but found no more of her than her skull, feet and hands. So they came back and told him. He said, "This is what Adonai said through his servant Eliyahu from Tishbe. In the field of Israel the dogs will eat the flesh of Jezebel. Jezebel's corpse in the field of Israel will be like dung on the ground, unrecognizable as Jezebel."